Hey, good afternoon and welcome to this episode of Business Basics. My name is Lee Iben. I am the head business coach for Action Coach Campus in Johnson County, Iowa. And for those of you who watch this program on a regular basis, you realize that we have business owners, and we have a special guest with us today. I'll introduce Mekenzie in just a second, but business owners, and they give us their expertise. And we'd like to interview a variety of business owners. And today we have Axis Vision Care with us, and Dr. Striegel is going to join us later, but this is not Dr. Striegel. This is Mekenzie, and Mekenzie
I'm not a doctor.
Not a doctor, not even one on TV, but Mekenzie is the marketing director, and you can tell us about that. But tell us, first of all, if you could, give us kind of the background of Axis Vision Care.
Sure. So Axis Vision Care, they started off just being in the Washington area. We started off being Washington Eye Care Center. And then from there, it started off with one doctor who he's sold his practice. He's moved on now and retired. So then Dr. Courtney actually took over, and then Dr. Striegel, who we'll meet later, he then joined in the practice with Dr. Courtney. And from there, Dr. Striegel is actually from the Parnell area. And they decided to expand the practice into Williamsburg, making it Williamsburg Eye Care Center. So we had a Washington Eye Care Center and a Williamsburg Eye Care Center. From there, it was a couple years later, we decided that there's this town that's growing, and it's a great little town, and that is Tiffin. And from there, that is how we opened the Tiffin location. And that was a great choice. And we decided that we can't have a Washington Eye Care Center, a Williamsburg Eye Care Center, and a Tiffin Eye Care Center. So we made a new name, and we are now Axis Vision Care. So that's kind of the history behind that and how we came to be all together. So
Mekenzie, how did you come up with the name Axis Vision Care?
So actually in your prescription that you get, your eye prescription, there's 3 different prescriptions in the eye, and that would be your spherical, your cylinder, and your axis. So that's how they came up with the name Axis Vision Care.
I love it. Yeah. And it looks like the location in Washington, when I was there earlier today, it looks like it's a relatively new facility. I mean, it's very nice.
So it is very nice, but our Tiffin and our Williamsburg locations are actually, they're the more like, I feel like our Washington location is kind of our more homey, I would say. I would describe it. And then our Tiffin and our Williamsburg have more of our modern feel.
Good.
It's kind of clean. I mean, well, obviously Washington's clean too, but you know what I mean? Just like very like clean lines everywhere. And
Sure. No, yeah, there's different decorating styles, to be sure. But Washington's very nice, very, very, very approachable, very welcoming, I thought, when I stopped in earlier.
Yeah, we try to be.
Yeah, no, it's good. And you have a great staff. And I noticed that all the waiting room chairs are all socially distanced, as we all have to be at this point, right?
Yes. But we're practicing all of the CDC guidelines.
Yes, except you feel kind of alone when you're sitting in those chairs all by yourself.
I know. We get tons of like patients that come in like with their wife or with their husband or with their kids, and they're like, oh, okay. Hey.
Right. How are you doing across the room? I get it. So you have a unique job. You're the marketing director, and you have 3 communities primarily. Now tell me, who have you identified as your target market? Who are you actively trying to get in mostly?
100% Tiffin.
Really?
We are. That's pretty much my main goal. I do a lot, like I'm pretty familiar with the Washington area. I know a lot of people in the Washington area. So Washington is a pretty easy target for me. I can usually find things pretty easily in Washington. And Williamsburg, just because it's a little bit more established now, and there's just things that we do often, and we have just more of a reputation in Williamsburg. Williamsburg is also a little bit easier for me.
Sure.
But Tiffin is still new, and we're still trying to get it up and running and going. And so Tiffin is usually the one where I'm like, hey, anyone hear anything? What's going on in Tiffin? I'm following all the Facebook pages on Tiffin, trying to find stuff for that area.
So that's interesting. So for your marketing efforts to get the name of Access out to Tiffin, are you using primarily social media?
We use a lot of social media, like for finding stuff, you mean, or just like to get the word out?
To get the word out.
Yeah. So, I mean, we try to use Facebook for a lot of information, but I would say our main goal is like community outreach.
Okay. And that's a big part of your marketing plan, is those community outreach events.
Yeah.
Okay. So not a lot of traditional advertising like newspaper, radio, not too much.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, radio, I don't know. I mean, we've kind of tossed around the idea of like some radio and some maybe like a commercial, like a television commercial. But yeah, like community outreach is like our big one.
Okay. Remind me after we're done with our interview. I've got some ideas for you on marketing that I think would help Access out, but we'll cover that another time. But that's all right. It's all good.
Cool.
So now you've been at this for a year and a half. I mean, so you jumped in January of 2019. Things are going great, right? And then January this year, we're like, this feels a little weird, 2020, right? And then all of a sudden, bam, COVID-19. How did you guys, what did you do during that time?
We relied heavily on Facebook and for that. And we relied a lot on, just kind of making sure that people, I just felt like it was more like my job to make sure people understood that we were taking all the safety measures that were necessary. And, like we're still seeing patients and we still care about the safety of you, and we care about the safety of your family. So we are here for you. So that was like, I felt like that was the main job during the thick of it.
Yep. And you were closed for a while like everybody else, right?
So we kind of closed for a week, and we did some deep cleaning and just some real hard sanitizing. And then after that we've been open since then. Yep.
Good. Yeah. And that's,
we had about a month where it was like really slow, but still, we stuck in there.
So have you been able to, for those lost patient times, have you been able to get those patients back in and kind of get back up to where you ought to be now then?
Oh yeah. Yep. We are starting to book out farther and farther, which is amazing. Our doctors are having to like open their schedules even farther than what their normal scheduled time is. So that's great.
Yes. Now you said
that always excites me.
Exactly. Well, yeah, right. You're the marketing director. You want to keep things busy, right? That's your job. Exactly. Oh my goodness gracious. I get that. So you have two docs. You have Dr. Courtney, Dr. Striegel, and Dr. Striegel will join us here shortly. But 3 locations. How does that work?
So we have where they kind of split up their time in the Tiffin location. So Dr. Courtney's main location is Washington, and then Dr. Striegel's main location is Williamsburg. And then they'll kind of switch off and on for our Tiffin location, but we're currently in the market for a new optometrist. So we're actually looking for a full-time optometrist there in our Tiffin area. So
very good. And so how do you do? Yeah. So how do you do that now then with staffing 3 locations? Did I lose you? There we go. Oh, there we go. I can hear you. Okay, we're good. So no, how do you do that with staffing 3 locations then, Mekenzie?
So we usually have like our main person that's in our Tiffin location. And she is standing right next to me, so I have to be nice to her.
Do be nice.
She's doing some training with our billing manager, so she's expanding her education. And so we have her, she's mainly in our Tiffin location, and then we usually have, on the days where Dr. Striegel is seeing, he might be seeing some patients in Williamsburg in the morning, and then he'll come to Tiffin in the afternoon. And so he'll have a technician that will come, the technician will be with him in Williamsburg, and then we'll come to Tiffin and be his tech there. So, I mean, we kind of just work it that way where, we're making sure all of our bases are covered so that we have at least a technician or, at least 3 people in the clinic when there's patients.
Yeah. So, and just to economize things, I would imagine that you have a business manager at the practice, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But you run the business out of one location. Is that correct? Like all the billing and receivables all go to like the Washington location? Is that how that works?
Yeah. So our billing manager, she is also, her main location, her home base is here in Washington. And she also has the ability to work from home too. And she has so she's able to travel and stuff, but her main location is here in Washington.
Good to know. Yeah, and we have quite a few business owners who are single practice, right? And they're looking to expand. And so these are some questions I know that they have, is that in addition to running the business out of one location, which makes sense, right? Because you don't want to have 3 business managers. Do you guys also use a software system specific to vision care?
We do. So, right now we are using Management Plus.
Okay.
But, like kind of in the market for a different one, just
Really?
for our back pocket. Yeah, right now we are.
Yeah, and I think that's common. I know that when my wife and I had a dental practice, we used one software, but we were still kind of keeping our antenna up, right? Just see if there might be one that better served our purposes better than we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just wise to do that.
I think so.
There's no software that's perfect. That's right.
No. I mean, that's completely the thing. You'll always have something that, could be better, or something that, I wish it would do, but it didn't, so I don't know. It's always nice to do my research and make sure, because that's also part of my job here as well. On top of marketing, I also do a lot of the IT stuff, and I'm the one that orders, like if we need a new auto refract machine, I'm also the one that does that. So I kind of have that double duty. So I do a lot of research on just like different equipment and IT stuff. So
wow. So you're kind of like IT trained then. I mean, you're like the go-to IT person.
I try.
Good for you.
I don't know if I'm as good at that as I am at the marketing, but I definitely try, my best.
Yes.
Make the whole wheel turn.
Well, so let's go back to that marketing for a second. So you do a lot of outreach. That kind of runs through you, right? You're the one that schedules all that, right? Mm-hmm. So you sponsored a hole at the golf outing in Washington this summer. That was fun.
Yes.
And everybody
we love doing that.
Well, especially when you get to people like me, wear those Google glasses and try to hit the ball, which
you did great.
Great. I pounded the dirt several times. But
hey, you weren't the first, and you won't be the last. I promise.
But it was fun. I mean, and to have you and your partner there working on that, that was just a lot of fun, and it was a great way to introduce the fun atmosphere of Access to people who may not be patients yet, right?
Definitely. That's probably one of our biggest qualities that we have here, is that, we just, we are professional, we are knowledgeable, and we like to have fun at the same time.
Well, that's good. I mean, that is so important. It makes everybody, I guess, more comfortable throughout the day when they know that they can. I mean, we're all professional. We have to be, but we should be.
Yeah.
But we can still have fun, right? We appreciate each other's skill sets. But it's okay to have some fun along the way, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. So what is your next big event coming up, that your next outreach activity?
Oh, our next big event. I'm trying to think of what it is right now. I think we have a couple different golf tournaments. We have, that's like the big one right now, because, like
Yeah.
summer, that like transition to fall where like the weather's a little bit nicer. But yeah,
Right.
I know that we have Alexa, who, that you met
Right.
at the golf
Yep.
tournament. She's actually doing her, there's one in Wapello that she's actually
Okay.
going to help with. Yeah. And then, I think we have a couple other ones like late August that we're going to do. So yeah.
Okay. So you're really
Yeah.
drawing people from a ways away then, if you're going out to Wapello.
Yeah. So yeah, we have some patients like in that, like Winfield area, over in that area. So
Cool. And there's Dr. Striegel joining us. How are you,
oh,
Doc? It's good to see you. Yay!
he
Can you
made
hear
it.
us okay? I can see him there. I can see his face, looking dapper as ever. Dr. Ryan, are you there? Can you hear us? Doesn't look like it yet.
Can't quite hear us yet.
We're getting a good portrait shot of Dr. Striegel. And he's connecting there, I think. Dr.
Hey,
Striegel.
Ryan.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. We were watching you connect, and we were
Yeah,
taking portrait shots, screenshots of you there, Ryan.
Good.
So, yeah,
Good.
right. Yeah.
good. Yeah, I was trying to get connected there and then finish charts and stay on time. So, how's
Well,
it going?
you're busy. It's going great. Thanks for joining us today. We're an episode of Business Basics here. And as I explained to Mekenzie, I'm a business coach. And one of the things I like to do is interview business owners and talk about how things are going, what's challenging you right now. What are the things you got coming up? And we're talking about the golf outing with Mekenzie. That was fun. Now you're actually you're up in the other location today. Is that correct? Up
Yeah, I'm
Williamsburg?
in Williamsburg. Yep.
Okay, very good. And I think
Yep.
this is our second time because you're busy. You have patients coming in left and right. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we schedule them about every 20 minutes, so it can
Oh.
15 on days, so it can get a little crazy. So,
Wow. So
but
tell me a little bit about your background. Could you? And can I call you Ryan? Would that be okay?
totally fine. Totally
All
fine.
right. Okay.
So yeah, background as far as I grew up in the area, went to
Okay.
a small high school, then went into college, graduated, and then we wanted to move back to the area, Southeast Iowa,
Yep.
and then pretty much ended up joining the clinics with Washington and opening up Williamsburg here,
Okay.
and then the other eye doctor, Tim Courtney, and I have we've opened up with our team another location in Tipton.
Fantastic. So how many employees altogether do you have?
Oh gosh, Mekenzie, is it 10, 12?
We have 12.
12.
There you go. There you go.
12 employees, 3 locations. You guys are busy. I mean, you guys are running around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at times we can be. I don't know that we were slow back in March for sure.
Well, but Mekenzie said you were closed for a week, right? And then you were able to start getting patients back in again. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep. So shut it down briefly there and gathered our thoughts and we're able to get back after it. So.
Right. But now your numbers are where they should be for the year. Is that correct?
Oh, for the most part, yeah. I mean, it helped when our first quarter was really, really busy.
Yes.
It was one of the busiest, and so our Tiffin location that we just opened up was building up, and then, of course, March hit, and that brought us way back down to normal. And so we're getting there. Our as far as the amount of people we see, it's a normal August, I'd say. So,
Okay. Yep. And normally this would be back to school time, I guess. Do you have a lot of kids in your practice?
We do. That's what keeps us really busy this time of year is back to college, back to high school, things like that. So
Right. That's good. Well, so interesting question. It says that, smart people learn from their mistakes, but wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Now, how long have you been doing this? You've been a doctor for how long?
12 years. 12 years.
That's okay. So you've had 12 years under your belt. So tell me what you've learned from that other maybe new business owners could glean from your wisdom.
What did I do? I've done some stupid stuff.
We all have.
And some stupid stuff.
Buy term life insurance and invest in your business instead of that was one. Check your contracts all the time. So
Yes.
that's another interesting one. I mean, lawyers they're pricey, but they can be very inexpensive. I don't know. I forget what else I wrote down that day.
When you say check your contracts, are we talking about employee contracts? Are we talking about vendor contracts?
Just everything in gender or everything in general there. Not only with your business partners, but with your vendors, certainly with staff. We've had a lot of things that have came up and we should have been clear with them.
Right.
Just being a better leader for your staff, have better expectations from the get-go.
Yep. I completely get that.
Like, and it certainly helps to have only 2 owners versus 3. I mean, it's hard to get 3 minds to think alike. We had bought out one of the previous owners, and it's certainly easier to get 3 heads working towards one main goal. Or 2 heads rather than 3, I guess. So
right.
Yeah.
There's no one to split the vote though. That's the problem with only 2, right?
Yeah. We usually arm wrestle for it or rock, paper, scissors. So
that's right.
You just straight up wrestle.
That's right. Some of the biggest decisions in the world, right? 1, 2. That's right. All right. We're doing it that way. Exactly.
Right.
The walls are blue, darn it. They're not going to be green this time around.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's great advice. And, checking those contracts, and you're right, attorney's fees can be, at first blush, expensive, but they can save you a lot of time and a lot of money down the road.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the only other mistake was, when you go into optometry school or any other business, you're typically really good at what you do, and you're really piss poor at being a leader. And I wish I would have focused on that a long time ago. And we really didn't start doing that until about 4 or 5 years ago. We realized that we were not good leaders for our staff, and we realized that we needed to change, and so then we started making a difference in that manner. So
that's very good. Yes, that's. I work with a lot of teams that way, and we'll visit after this is over too, just for a few minutes. So tell me, what do you find, Ryan? What is the most inspiring thing to you? And then Mekenzie will ask you the same thing. So, what's the most inspiring thing to you today?
When I go home and my kids, I'm pushing them on the swing, and he has no idea about COVID-19, which is awesome. Or just the silly questions that he asked, or my daughter. They're pretty inspiring because
how old are they, Ryan?
They're not stressed out. 7 and 5. So,
great age.
Yeah. And that's pretty inspiring. All the way to the elderly people we have come in. I mean, their guidance is pretty amazing too. So I think the most inspirational though is probably the kids at home. It's a good de-stressor. So
that's good. Yeah. Takes your mind away. Well, it's a reminder of why you do what you do, but it's great to say, all right, I'm done with business for today. Now I'm going to go home and be dad. Right.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep. It is kind of fun.
Yeah, so. we were the same way. We had a business for 20 years in the medical profession. We're a dental family, and we had 4 kids. Still have 4 kids. They're just all bigger now. They're like Mekenzie's age, for crying out loud. But anyway, but you're right. You want to leave the office behind and go home and just be dad, right?
Yep.
So Mekenzie, what is your inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say the same thing. I have an almost 2-year-old, so I love getting to go home and see that face. But I mean, professional-wise, something that's, most inspiring to me. I mean, I think that Tim and Ryan are both great leaders.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. She just wants a raise. She just wants a raise.
I'm trying.
It's been a year and a half, for crying out loud. That's right.
No, honestly, they're great guys. You know, for being a couple guys in office full of mostly women, they do a pretty good job of dealing with all that. I mean, it's a hard job, so they're pretty inspiring. They really do give great advice, and whether they hate taking compliments, but they are getting better at that. So that's pretty inspiring. So yeah.
Ryan, I am with you 100%. We had a pediatric dental office. I was the only guy. My wife was the dentist. I was the business manager. I ran the books and payroll and everything. And so, yeah, I was the only guy because we had all female dental assistants. And so I was always odd man out. But anyway, interesting work dynamics, that's for sure. Hey, I'm going to wrap things up. Don't go away, you guys. Hang on just a second. My name is Lee Iben. I am the head business coach at Action Coach Campus in Johnson County. And my guests today have been Dr. Ryan Striegel and his marketing director, Mekenzie, with Access Vision Care. Their locations are Washington, Tiffin, and Williamsburg. And thanks for joining in today.